Guys, Marsegin here, bringing another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And so today I want to take a look at the LR Super Saiyan trio not running their own team, trying them out here on one of the only real sort of 200% teams they have that is a current meta relevant team, which is Power of Wishes, because they get a 200% leader skill from both of the 8th anniversary LRs. I think the only other 200% leader skill they're on is for the tech gods for movie heroes, which, you know, there are still some events you can use them in, but with a lot of like first phase int bosses running around, probably not in the best place currently anymore. So this team and their own team are really the main teams you're going to run them on, where they're getting a full 200% lead. So we're going to jump into we'll start off with the Goku Black stage. Maybe we'll throw another one in here as well. But yeah, this is the Power of Wishes team that I want to run here. Now, of course, if we are running them on a team that isn't full Super Saiyans, remember we need to have 2 Super Saiyans or movie heroes characters on the team so that we can get their entrance animation, which then obviously gives them the damage reduction and the effective against all types. The damage reduction arguably the more important, right? So we're running God Goku and we have the Spirit Bomb Absorb Goku. I haven't really used him on a video with them yet because we've done things like Fusions of Masu, where obviously he's not very good against AoEs. So I thought it'd be interesting to try him out in this event. So yeah, let's jump in. Hopefully we don't get an absolutely terrible starting rotation, but let's go. Okay, so we got a decent looking starting rotation. We got Bulma here for slot 1, which is good. We're going to get the intros. I've said it before. I said it on the podcast last night. I'm sure I'll say it again. Aesthetically, I love everything about this unit. Like, the intro's super good. I think one of the things that Dokkan is really excelling at lately is whenever we get these like close-ups of characters, whether it's in the intro or the super, whether it's them powering up or whatever, some of the close-up shots are just absolutely fantastic. And one of the things that we talked about on the podcast last night is a lot of these units that are now coming from much older source material, like these guys being from the Android 13 movie, like we're getting these close-ups, like that intro of them all transforming, that looks better than the actual movie, which is kind of crazy. So let's see, what do we have here? So there's a lot of STR orbs over on this side. I do want, yeah, see, I do want the 5 orbs with Bulma so we can get the support. So let's do that. And then where does that leave us? We can get 8 orbs, which is pretty good. It's going to be tricky sometimes to get the 9 orbs for them, but I think 8 is still pretty good, right? Because we are getting our 18 key super. We're getting 2 guaranteed additional attacks. And then I guess we just do this, right? So we can get these attacks in slot 3. So the way I'm planning to run this team, right, is to have Bulma as a slot 1. So we kind of got the starting rotation I wanted, right? Bulma in slot 1. So she can be tanking, she can be providing the support. Then we can have the Super Saiyans in slot 2, and they can just kind of go off and do their thing. 12 million. Remember, mine are 69%. So 1 dupe, full level 10 links. They have 9 additional and 15 dodge. And then, yeah, we additional straight into an 8.2 here. So, yeah, looking pretty solid on this turn. And then basically the way we're going to make up for the links for the Super Saiyans, 3rd super now, 9 million, love to see it. The way we're going to make up for the links, because obviously with Bulma they're only going to share Fierce Battle and Legendary Power, that's where the units that we're going to have floating in slot 3 are going to come in. So how much do they take from this? 335k. That's not too bad on turn 1, because remember we next turn will carry over the 30% extra defense that we got on this turn, so that they are going to have much higher defense on the next turn as well. So we'll see how that plays out here. And then the GT duo, they don't have to actually take any hits this turn, but the more supers they get off in slot 3 here, the more they build up their damage reduction. And of course, remember, having the 8-year anniversary LRs on the team, especially both of them, it means that if we ever do drop below 50% HP, we've then got those active skills that we're able to use. Now, unfortunately, this is a very bad rotation. No one's got particularly great start of turn defense. I'm just going to have to hope that we don't get immediately supered in slot 1 here. But if we don't, we should be good. Because we can grab a decent amount of key, and then the phase should be all done here. So let's see how we go. So yeah, fortunately no super, not too bad. I really wanted to float off Spirit Bomb Absorb Goku, because obviously I do want to see the rotation of him next to the Super Saiyans, but I guess we'll have to make do with that. Him not killing him is obviously good as well, because then the GT duo here get to build up their supers. With the Boo duo, they are infinitely stacking defense, but at least in the second phase, they have type advantage over Rose, and the only build up they're missing out on in terms of the number of attacks from their passive is their crit chance, which is not as anywhere near important as the GT duo getting damage reduction, right? So let's see how we're looking here. So we go into turn 3. Oh, of course, this is God Goku is in slot 7. Great. So as I was starting to say at the beginning, the strategy was to have Bulma as the slot 1 on one turn, and then God Goku as the slot 1 on the other turn, because we've seen in previous videos the fact that unfortunately, whilst God Goku can kind of be a staple for the Super Saiyans team as well, because he's such a great unit, still one of the best TURs, his orb changing can definitely interfere with the Super Saiyans. But we did have them in slot 3, so they have actually been able to work out. This has actually worked out really nicely for them. So start of turn defense now. Remember, they've got the 30% from the previous turn, and we have the Bulma support. They're starting the turn at 400k. And then remember, of course, they're going to get, was it the, is it 130? Yeah, 130% when attacking. And then they're still getting the 50% raise from their super attack effect as well. So the post-super, they are going to have a ridiculous amount of defense, plus the damage reduction on top as well. So, yeah, we got quite lucky there. With one of those things, God Goku being in slot 3, especially on turns of other units with orbs, you're always going to be kind of winging it, because we had to rely on the orbs that were created after we picked up basically the entire orb field. To give us the RNG for Goku. Now, fortunately, against an int boss, realistically, we're only looking to get 3 orbs with God Goku anyway. But, yeah, see, now we're up to 14.8. Basically, 15 million attack stat for the LR that, yeah, like I say, we have 1 dupe, and now post-super, I think they are, what, they're at like 800k, 700k, something like that, 750 defense with 30% damage reduction as well. So if Rose does super attack them here, they will take damage, obviously, for sure. But considering we have a decent amount of HP, we should live. And then, yeah, 10 million on the other additional here. I mean, they do be doing some damage. Double digits from the normals is what we would expect. And then God Goku in slot 3 should be okay. Obviously, it's his first turn, so he hasn't really gotten any stacks or anything like that. He does have guard. Does he live a super from Rose if he doesn't dodge here? Probably, right? I mean, he's getting another super off here to get some extra defense. There's always the potential for the hidden potential super as well. The only downside, I think, to these events, and we'll jump into another stage as well, but like, okay, he didn't dodge, great. How much did he take from this? 471, okay. I was going to say, watch him dodge everything else now. Okay, no. Oh, actually, you know, we can get... Oh, no, we can't. I was going to say, we could get another turn here now with Goku, but we probably won't, because we... the Spirit Bomb probably kills, right? Because if I do this... Actually, let's turn the animation off. Because I was going to say, we're not going to get another turn with the Super Saiyans at this rate. So if I do this, and then... Vegeta's obviously going to die in slot 1. Then we get the revive. But the Spirit Bomb... Is the Spirit Bomb going to kill him? We haven't had a huge amount of build-up, but the Spirit Bomb potentially just kills him. Because, yeah, one of the things I was starting to say before, right? We talked about how having these 2 Super Saiyan or movie heroes allies to get the intro animation with the Super Saiyans is obviously very, very impactful. But the other problem, of course, is when it comes to their active skill... I say problem, but their active skill, if you don't have a full team of Super Saiyans, can't be used until turn 6. So obviously here we are on turn 5, we can't use it. And unfortunately, unless I put them in slot 1, which is not really ideal, right? Because we could get... So we didn't see where the super was last turn, so he could very easily just super in slot 1 here. So it's one of those things where we've obviously won, but because we just put Bulma in slot 1, but then she's just going to kill him. So we'll jump into another event here and see if we can go for a little bit longer. But it's one of those problems with the Dismal Future Red Zone, I think, when it comes to how Fusion Zamasu has really impacted like team building and how these events kind of play out. because this team, we just got through this event so quickly. But if we jumped into Fusion Zamasu, there's units on this team that are just not very good against the AoEs, and it drags down the viability of that team for that event in particular. So I feel like there's definitely a weird power imbalance between these most difficult events in the game at the moment, because we want to see the Super Saiyans on multiple turns, but if we jump into any of these, like, quote-unquote, the easier Dismal Future Red Zone stages, the enemy doesn't live long enough for us to see multiple turns, right? And if we can't be using their active skill until turn 6, but we can't get to turn 6, then obviously it's a little bit disappointing. I mean, we still got to see them do some big numbers and everything, so we'll jump into another event with this team and see how we get on. Right, so we're going to jump into the Metal Cooler Core event. It's been a while since this has been like a relevant showcase stage, but obviously this, we do have the advantage that this one will specifically go on for a certain number of turns, right? So unfortunately, it's going to be very difficult to separate the God Goku and Super Saiyans combo, since this is the rotation we've started with. Bulma is on the opposite rotation, but we don't have a good unit to sort of sub into slot 1 instead. So we'll just keep it like this for now and see how we get on. We can only get 5 orbs for them, which is not super great, but I think it's one of those things where with this unit, you want to always be making sure you get the 18 key super, right? Like, that is the most important thing. Of course, God Goku didn't dodge straight away. Getting the 18 key super with them is the most important thing, right? Because that gives them the 30% buff that carries over to the next turn. And as we've already said, that will hugely impact their ability to not only defend, but also to do damage. Like, if you don't get the 18 key super, you don't have that buff going into the next turn. I think I already mentioned, right, like if you have the unit in slot 1 kills the boss, then they don't get to attack, they go into the next phase. I mean, that's what happened in the versus Sin video that I put up last night. You can check that out. You can kind of see how much less damage they're doing on their active skill if it's following on from a turn where they didn't get to attack at all, because they have no attack stacks. Like, their defense is one thing, but the 12 key supers are giving them the greatly raised attack for 3 turns as well. So if you're following up a turn where, you know, you got like 1 super, or a turn where you got like 4 supers, the active skill is going to do such an insanely different amount of damage, right? It gets such a massive buff from the supers that they got on the previous turn. So I think that is very important to consider, right? You always want to be trying to get that 18 key super. Now, obviously, if you're going to be able to pick up a large amount of orbs to get those additional attacks, you're usually going to be able to get the 18 key as well. But it all depends on the orb changing and stuff, right? Which is why you have to be very careful with the units that you are running alongside them. So I think we'll float off the Boo duo here, so we can get them onto the rotation with the Super Saiyans in like this extra in the last slot, so we can get those links. We also are able to save a few int orbs here, so depending on how the next turn goes with the orb changing, we should be looking pretty good. What I would really like is to get a really strong turn here for the Super Saiyans on the next turn, so that then their first turn against the Metal Cooler Core, they're coming in with a massive buff, right? Because they're keeping the buff to their attack, like I said, even if we're not using their active skill, because again, we're not going to have a full Super Saiyans rotation. So, you know what? I should have floated off. Trunks, because with God Trunks in slot 1, they would actually get a full Super Saiyan rotation, but that wouldn't be till turn 7, so they're going to use their active skill anyway. So I suppose it doesn't really matter. Because yeah, they keep it for the active skill, which is great, but they keep it for everything else as well. So if we get a turn where they get like 4 supers, on the next turn, they've kept all of those attack stacks. So even their first super of the turn, when we get their big 18 key super, is going to be doing significantly more damage, right? So that should make them look pretty good. I thought it'd just be fun to do this stage, right? Because, you know, we guarantee, at least in this stage, we can't kill the first phase in 1 turn, right? So, you know, we get to at least get a couple of turns, get some of the units here built up. I don't know what people's general consensus about this event is, and I know people don't like it when they just repeat stuff from events that we've already had, but I would like to see another event like this, right, where you can't beat the first phase and you can just build up, and then we go on to a boss that, because obviously at the time of release, Metal Cooler Core was a difficult boss. Like, his super attack was able to take out a lot of the units in the game, you know, even like one-shotting you. So I think that kind of format would be quite interesting. Make them like AGL at the end, right? So all these tech units that have been in the mud for so long can make a bit of a comeback, but I guess we'll see. So, I really didn't want you... I really would have liked you to pick up the STR orbs, but I guess it is what it is. Can we get away with doing this? Because then they'll pick up the STR orbs here. I mean, if we eat a super in slot 1, we'll take a decent amount of damage, but we shouldn't die, right? So we can get 7 orbs. That does potentially screw over God Goku, though. Depends how the rest of the orb field changes. I mean, Goku doesn't need to guard, right? So I guess it doesn't matter too much. But we'll do that. But yeah, again, you see there in action the problem of having like God Goku on rotation with the trio, because we could potentially have gotten a better orb change than that if it wasn't for Goku. And then of course, being in slot 1, Goku being physical, we wanted to pick up all the physical orbs. So it just leaves us in a situation which is not really ideal. But again, like I say, we can't kill the Metal Cooler army, so we don't need to worry about, you know, the GT duo going off here, getting a bunch of supers. They should be, what, almost fully built up now? Actually, no, were they... If they're on this turn, that means they're in slot 7, so this is their first turn. So they're getting some build up here, building up their damage reduction. Of course, as I mentioned in the first part, I think, having the 8-year LRs on the team obviously means we have access to both of their standbys. We have Trunks with his standby as well. So we have a lot of potential powerful abilities we can use as we get a few turns deep into the fight here. So we did get a second super, so that adds to the bonus for the next turn. Can we get the hidden potential as well? We do not. So we tank for double digits. We've already seen them tank a super for double digits. You know, the Metal Cooler army, not the hardest hitting boss, but very, very good. And then God Goku gets some extra stacks at the end here as well. So let's see. We are going into the core on the next turn. We have Bulma in slot 1. So it should be a decent rotation as long as the core doesn't... I can already see the way this is going to go, right? The core's going to super attack like the Boo duo or something, isn't he? We'll see. Oh, no, we have the... Oh, okay, no, we're all good. Oh, except they're sealed. Amazing. I think they probably still take less damage from a super than Trunks does, although I'm actually not too sure. I mean, they have some damage reduction already, so they probably do still take less damage than Trunks does, right? So let's get our... Let's grab all of these. You know what? I want to try and get rid of as many of the non-int orbs as possible. So we'll do this because you're sealed already anyway. And then we'll do this. So Bulma should be fine if she gets supered. I think the GT duo should be okay. Okay, she's getting supered, so we're all good. I mean, she's not going to take like double digits, but we're not going to die. So that's the important thing. 330. Still a lot of damage when you think about the fact that Bulma has guard, some damage reduction, and type advantage as well anyway. And she's still taking that kind of damage. But the team does have a lot of HP. And this puts us in a situation now where we are going to be able to get a standby. In fact, floating off the Boo duo is going to have worked out quite nicely here. Although I say that, there's going to be a risk. I was going to say we could stand by them, put them in slot 1. But when they stand by, they change orbs. So that could actually be a little bit risky. I mean, I'm going to have to do it, right? Because otherwise we don't have a slot 1 unit for the rotation, I don't think, coming up for the next turn. But man, if they change all of the int orbs to rainbow, I am going to be very disappointed. So we'll see how this next turn plays out, I guess. Because, yeah, again, no full Super Saiyan rotation, so we can't use the active. Man, we can do some funny shenanigans here as well. So we'll do this. Oh, please do not change all the int orbs. Oh, man. They're going to, aren't they? Because we can get the 80% attack support here. Okay, they didn't. Now, the only problem is, I guess, we need... We need them to pick up orbs as well, though, right? Yeah, a little bit disappointing. I mean, I guess we can do this. And I mean, they don't need key, right? Because they're getting the key from Vegeta. So I suppose if we do this, actually, because that leaves a lot of int orbs and tech orbs. So we can still get, we can get 8. All right, well, we'll get the 6 because it doesn't really matter. If we're not getting 9, we might as well get 6. But what does that put them at here? So we've got every link except Golden Warrior. We've got 400k defense start of turn. So yeah, let's see how we get on. The Vegeta should be perfectly fine here in slot 1. Eat all of this damage, and then he doesn't die to this, right? Because he has guard and damage reduction. Yeah, okay. I was going to say, like, I know he tanks super well, but... So yeah, what do we get from the boys? 20 mil, that's what we like to see. Now, obviously, this is a juiced rotation, right? We got Bulma support, we got the 80% support from the Super Saiyan Vegeta. But, you know, these guys are one dupe, so 20 mil, and then going into the additional at 13 million is pretty nice here. Obviously, without the active skill, we don't have the guaranteed crits for this turn. I mean, there's still 6 million type disadvantage with no crit is actually still pretty good. And then they tank the normal for double digits. Will Vegeta actually kill here? I mean, I guess to be fair, if Vegeta doesn't kill, even with type advantage, I feel like he gets killed. Oh no, he only hit once. Okay, interesting. Is there any way I can actually get to... Because we already know Bulma's going to take a lot of damage if she gets hit in slot 1 here. Oh, this is an interesting one. So I guess I could just do this. I mean, the thing is, whoever gets hit in slot 1 is going to be taking some big damage. So, because, I mean, I think, well, basically the way this ends here is we either win this turn or we've just died. So I suppose it doesn't really matter too much, right? We're not going to get to see the Super Saiyans in action again now anyway. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down below of the Super Saiyans on the Power of Wishes team. I think it's a fun team. Almost none of the events in the game can really stand up to it outside of having to build around Fusion Zamasu's AoEs. So I think it's a strong team. I think you can see here the Super Saiyan's performance is definitely impacted by not having access to that active skill as early as turn 3, because that's the kind of thing that really allows them to melt through bosses, and obviously having the active skill give them the defense buff before they then are attacking is really, really handy as well. But yeah, this team's very, very good, so let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.